If you copy influencers with completely different goals, genetics, or lifestyles, this is definitely for you.
Every single person is so different.
If your routine is random, that routine's gonna suck. This is my gripe with ChatGPT is like the quality just sucks. My goal when I'm programming is to give someone a routine that will work perfectly for their situation, their physique, and get them 5 times faster results than some nonsense they might be doing on their own.
And if you just copy someone's random routine from Instagram because they're an influencer, you're gonna be highly misguided.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and Most of All Happy podcast. I'm your host and coach, Josh, here with
His co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the house.
And today we're going to be talking about why your workout routine might be trash, as well as how to design a perfect routine. And this is coming from me and Kyle, who have helped transform over 5,500 amazing people through our program. And we really like to build incredible results. My goal when I'm programming is to give someone a routine that will work perfectly for their situation, their physique, and get them 5 times faster results than some nonsense they might be doing on their own. And I just want to call out who this episode is for, because you might say, okay, no, my routine's good. Trust me, it's fine. But if you're changing your workouts every week, this routine is for you. If you train hard but you don't track anything, this is for you. If you copy influencers with completely different goals, genetics, or lifestyles, this is definitely for you. If you do way too much junk volume and you're just in the gym for an exorbitant amount of time for no reason, this is for you. If you skip legs, hard days, recovery, any of these things, these are for you as well. If you have no progression model and you have no theme and the routine is just random from one to the next, absolutely for you. And then most importantly is the people who judge their workouts by sweat, soreness, or pump. This is most certainly for you. So you may have fallen into one of these, and this is absolutely okay, but the main thing about a great routine versus just doing something random is intentionality, is having a purpose behind it. I love the analogy of music. If I just play notes on a piano, Kyle plays something on the drums, someone plays something on a guitar, maybe they all sound good individually. You throw them together, it's a mess. A great song will need to have so much behind it, right? It needs to build up, it needs to crescendo, it needs to have choruses, it needs to have different components, right? It needs to close out in a really nice way. And a routine is very, very similar. And I think there's so much that goes into it, and there's so many easy ways to make your routine bad, or really just have a routine that's going to leave a hole in your progress and cause you to bleed out your potential ability to see amazing results in the gym. Some additional things, in my opinion, that are the biggest routine killers is if your routine is random. So if you're going in the gym, you're just doing whatever you want. You're like, all right, today's a back day, I guess. And you pick some machines, you go through it. That routine's going to suck because right away, you already have no intention. You have no duration. The second you're bored, it takes too long, you're going to leave. You're not going to be as hungry to be like, okay, last week I lat pulled down 160 pounds. This week I'm going for 170 because you're just picking random things. You're just picking what's available. You're spending some time on it. And I see this all the time with legs. I see the people scrolling Instagram on the adductor machine, getting nowhere. So right away, this is one of the worst things you can do. Just the same if it's too easy. If you go in, you're like, I do 3 sets every day. That's my workout. Then I hit the pool, then I hit the sauna, and then I go to the massage chairs for recovery. Like, this is not going to help you grow. There's considerations you need to have with volume, and I'm going to get more into this. I just want to give more understanding of things you most importantly want to avoid. Just the same if it's too advanced. Like, if you're new to the gym, you should not be doing my routine. Like, more is not better. More advanced, more difficulty is not better at all, because you're just going to be shooting yourself in the foot. And you can see so much progression by just learning the basics, really aiming and getting the benefit from those movements, moving into more advanced, nuanced movements. And obviously there are things you need to earn as well. Like, there's some harder movement patterns. Like, I don't just throw new people into a barbell squat. I get them doing things like goblet squat. I make sure they have good balance. I make sure they know how to hinge. Like, you want all these considerations to be there. And the last thing I would kind of say too is if you're overextending yourself, if you're just like, I need to train hard, I want to be in there 3 hours, and your routine is a laundry list, that's not good either. So there's a lot that needs to be considered when designing a good routine, and that's what we intend to get into now. Actually, I'll start with this one because this is a big one to me, and that before anything else is how many days should you be in the gym? People ask me this question all the time because a lot of people will say, hey, I've heard 4 days is the best. I heard you need to go every single day. I've heard 6 days with 1 rest day is the sweet spot. So right from the start, I think what's most important is what you can actually commit to. If you say you're all in, you want to be there 6 days a week, you really want to push it, but it's just not realistic for you. The gym's really far. You've never gone to the gym before. Like, you're going to set yourself up for failure. That's what I said about something being too advanced for no reason. For most people, if you want the best results, what I like to do for my clients is 5 days in the gym. I find this is a really appropriate amount of time. You're getting 2 rest days. You're able to get enough intensity. You're able to get enough of a split. But for some people, that's not realistic. And for me, 5 days would be if you like training, you want to be consistent. If you're like, I just want the best-ish results, but I have limited time, that's where I'd recommend someone towards a 4-day routine, because you're still getting access to a good amount of volume. You're still in the gym more often than you're not, 4 days in, 3 days out, and it can be a really great place for you. If you want the bare minimum and you want to see progress, that's where I would say like a 3-day full body routine. But I will say that this would come in expensive of your results a little bit. And it also depends. If you're just like, I want a great longevity portfolio here, I do a ton of cardio, I'm really active, I do biking, running, all these different things, you can get away with it, but you're definitely not going to put on as much muscle. You're not going to become as strong. You're not going to be as advanced as someone very likely who is doing 4 or 5 days. 6 days can be good to me if you love the gym. The problem is the more you increase the duration of days, the more fatigue there's going to be on your system, and the more you're going to have to be aware of not having too much overlap in your training, because you want your muscles to be able to recover as well. And that's why I'm not a fan of a 7-day routine. And the other thing I will say, I've done 5, 6. That's kind of where I've had my sweet spot. What I like about 5 versus 6 is I find even 5 sometimes on rest days, it makes me appreciate the rest day, but miss the gym a little bit. And I think that's a good thing. If you're going every day, you just end up hating the gym. The quality of your workouts gets so diluted, and you really just end up minimizing what you can do. Whereas when you're in there 4 or 5 days for good sessions, you can come in with a great intention, a great intensity, and really see some amazing results. So that's where, if you're newer and you've never really lifted, 4 is a great place to start. 5 is a good place if you want to go in and you want to be really committed and go hard. 3 is a good minimum. If you want to see results, you can kind of best split that around like 3 upper days or something like that. And then for most people, I would avoid 6, but 6 can be an option, especially if you want like a 6th optional day. If you love the gym, it's social, you're hooked, that can be totally fine. The next is understanding volume. So you want some cadence in terms of volume within your routine. There are 2 schools of thoughts on this. There's MRV and MED. MRV is maximum recoverable volume. So for me, I can most generally recover if I'm doing like 22 to 30 sets in the gym. It does beat me up. That is like my threshold. I need to be super aware of my sleep. My nutrition needs to be perfect. So that's something I try to avoid. Minimum effective dose is like, what is the minimum amount of volume I can do in the gym? Like, can I get away with only doing 12 sets of volume? So maybe 4 exercises, doing 3 sets of each, and still see some progress, still see some results. I don't want to be in the gym for a long time. And these schools of thoughts are debated. Now science has shown that more volume is actually more beneficial. You put on more muscle as long as you can recover from it. And that is the caveat. And you might say, well, how can I know what I can recover from? And the honest answer is you don't know until you know. And that's why I want to have someone that's newer. I don't want to just throw them into my routine where I'm typically doing 18 to 24 sets of volume a workout. It's going to be a lot more advanced. I know what I'm doing. I don't need to watch form videos before. I have a good cadence, a good flow, and every exercise is different. Like 3 sets of deadlift volume is so drastically different than 3 sets of curls. So like, this is an oversimplification, but it is a good place to start in terms of programming. So if you're newer, I would recommend like 12 sets of volume. It's about 4 exercises of 3 sets each. Do them at a good intensity, do them to a good RAR. And what's awesome is as your routine progresses and grows, you can increase this amount of volume. If you start at the very end of the threshold and you start at your MRV, you're not really going to get stronger. You're going to be really beat down. And like, the question is, where do you go from there? So this is where you want to be super smart with your programming. You want to be intentional with what you put in, but we'll get more into that in a sec.
Yeah, and this next one is just, I'm going to be simply talking about like the workout split or the theme. And this is so important. And what I have to say about this is that every single person is so different. And that's where a lot of the time is going to be taken into consideration. understanding who you are. So when I get photos from someone, when I get their intake form saying, hey, I'm a marathon runner and my legs are getting so much volume, so I can't be doing tons of leg days. And then I see someone else who's like maybe a male who's been skipping leg days and he hasn't gone for a long time. Like everything is going to be so different. So when I can understand how many days you can comfortably go, that is the first and most important thing that Josh mentioned. From there, understanding what your goals are is so important. Understanding as well, like what your life is like and what's going on with your life. Like I mentioned, if I have a mountain biker and I've got a lot of clients who love it and they're just like, I just do so much of it, so I can only handle legs like once per week, and they can go to the gym 4 times, I'm going to give them 1 killer leg day and I'm going to give them 3 upper body days. If I have someone else who, is looking to really improve their lower body, and like just a typical female who says, hey, I want to lose some weight around my waist and I want to grow my glutes, and she can go 5 days, I'm going to give her 2 upper body days and 3 lower body days, and she's going to love it and really progress from there. But to me, the best way to look at it for the most part is I like to start with something like a push-pull leg split and then go from there based off of how many days someone can go into the gym. So if I have a female who, for example, can go 5 times, I'll very likely give the 2 upper body days, 3 lower body days. If I have a male who's just getting into it, he wants to do 4 days, and let's just say go with 1 leg day, we would probably go push, pull legs, and then do like a full body for the 4th one. For us right now, we're doing basically 3.5 upper body days, 1.5 lower body. So what I mean by that is Monday's push day, Tuesday's pull day, Wednesday's legs, Thursday's a combination of push pull and like full upper body, which I absolutely love. And then the Saturday is going to be shoulders mixed with legs, which I've also really been loving. And what I will say is we've experimented with everything. We've tried every different split. We've done it all. And something around this range has always been best. There's some people who will kind of honestly waste their time just doing like one muscle group. So they'll be like, hey, I can go 5 days. So Monday will be chest, Tuesday will be back, Wednesday will be arms, and they'll just have this split where they can just like, they're not going to progress as much. And to me, that's not the most ideal thing. There's some who will do like, 5 or 4 days with like full body. And I don't exactly love that because it's hard to recover. It's hard to like really get intentional with each muscle group. And so a lot of it just comes down to so many different factors, the amount of days you can work out, your overall goals, your situation in life really does matter. And that's where it's so important when you sit down, you think like, what's actually going to work for me, right? If you're doing marathon training and your legs are so sore on your workout day where you have like a big run group, that's not going to be as ideal. We need to take that in consideration. Even from photos, when someone sends me a photo, I might program extra hamstring work based off of what they actually need. And we're going to have a hamstring focus day with a little bit of quads as an accessory. And you really have to understand that you are a different person. You are a different individual. And if you just copy someone's random routine from Instagram because they're an influencer, you're going to be highly misguided. So this is a very important part of the process.
Yeah, there's been times in my life where I really wanted to blow up my bench and I would bench 3 days a week. There's been times I want to blow up my squat and I'd squat 3 days a week. And people put themselves in such a box with splits they can do. Like when people look at my splits sometimes, they're like, I didn't even know you could do that. Like you can do a legs and shoulders and tricep day. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Because you also want to look at the frequency you're hitting each muscle group. Like if you want big triceps, you're hitting triceps once a week and you're only doing secondary work through push like once a week, you're probably not going to see much growth, right? Like naturally you could say, okay, I'm going to prioritize that, do 2 tricep days, 2 push days, it'll work. Or I might even do 3 tricep days, 2 push days. Like that's where you can have so much flow. So people will have this box of like push pull legs, push pull. That's a common one for men. A lot of women will have like upper lower and like that's it. There's no nuance behind that. And just the same if you're like, oh, I don't want any direct arm work. I feel like my arms are fine. I'm going to get it indirectly through doing things like my push and my pull. That's totally okay. And if you're just like, I want massive like quads and I want like massive glutes, like you can really prioritize that. Like, so one of my favorites for women who really want to grow their legs and have a great base is lower, upper, lower, upper, lower. I just find like it works so phenomenally. And even on a 4-day, you can kind of do that. And I know I just knocked the simplicity of that, but obviously you can niche down on that. And you can include one of those leg days to be like glutes and rear delts, especially if you have really bad rear delts, you need to bring that up. And like, that's where like, it's so different for everyone. You can really do whatever you want. Like if you just want to have freakishly large shoulders. Like you can go really hard on shoulders. You can take that from somewhere else. A lot of people naturally will have muscle groups that are already super developed that you don't need to give as much attention to, and you can put that energy to other things. People have athletic aims that they want to really incorporate and really just maximize. And that's where you can have so much flow with your split. And I think you can get more exotic, but for beginners, like obviously upper lower is good, push pull legs is good. Like there's nothing wrong with these things, but people will really limit their results getting so stuck in these boxes. And especially in terms of strength considerations, the more you hit a muscle, the more you do strength, the more the muscle will grow, the more you will see strength to a degree, as long as you're recovering from it once again and you're giving yourself that time to rest. But the next consideration here as well that I want you to consider is exercise selection. So like Kyle said, look at your photos, look at where you're at, build around that, and don't just do stuff that's super easy. Do some hard stuff. And like within this as well, you need to have considerations of your central nervous system. You can't beat yourself to a pulp. Like I could give you a back day and it could be like deadlifts, and then it could be deficit deadlifts, and then it could be stiff leg deadlifts, Yates row, barbell underhand row, max out lat pull. Like you'd be dead just because like it would beat you down so hard. That's where like sometimes these placeholders can be good of easier things. Like a quad extension can be like almost a breath. Like it's hard, but you're fixing that machine. It's just your quads. It's natural. It's low friction. It's low setup. It can be very refreshing after coming out of something like a barbell squat. So you want to keep these things in mind. And just the same, you want to keep in mind what you have in your gym. Like you need to program with what you have. And if you have to get like crazy intuitive to like come up with some variation of something you saw that you wanted to do that your gym doesn't have, it's going to waste time. It's going to waste energy. And also you want some cadence in it. Like if your routine, you're doing a cable exercise and you're doing a dumbbell exercise and you're going back to a cable, then you're back to a dumbbell, like that's just stupid. Like it's going to waste so much time. Like you should use the cables when you have the cables, and like that can't always be perfect, but these are things you want to consider. And like a good routine will consider these things, and you can shave time and nonsense so you can actually focus on doing some more volume. So that's absolutely something you want to consider. Is you want some cadence, you want to be really aware of exercise selection. You also want to make sure that your routine progresses you into more advanced movements, that you revisit movements, that there's periodization, that there's just so many different components, right? That there's different volume thoughts, like there's different phases in the routine. Like I don't mean to make it more complex than it is, but a good routine truly will consider all of these things. But on a baseline, like as long as you're checking these boxes, you're getting a good flow, you know what you're working towards. And what I mean by periodization as well is it doesn't have to be super exotic. Like if 1 week you're doing an incline barbell press, you can do an incline dumbbell press. You want some mirroring where you're working those same muscles, that you're seeing progression. Then of course you want to do this in blocks. And then from here, obviously you want to refresh that routine. For me, I recommend it every 12 weeks. If you're just constantly changing exercises for no reason, you're not giving yourself any time to mature in them, to get stronger in them, to actually improve, because people think it's just better doing random things because they get sore. But your goal is like by the end of that 12 weeks, if I have you doing lat pull downs and close grip lat pull downs, you should be getting significantly stronger in both by the end of the 12 weeks. I can look at your photos. I can see how this routine benefited you. Am I seeing muscle coming up in the areas I want? Are the dominant areas still too dominant? Are there changes in our goals? And then you can begin to amend. So I know this was a little technical. I apologize for that. I tried to make it less technical as I could. And of course, if you're like, this is insane, like I'd rather you just do this for me, I would love to. I love programming. I love helping people with nutrition. I love helping you with your form. I love all things coaching. That's why we do this for a living. And we're very passionate about it, right? Instead of slapping something together, and this is my gripe with ChatGPT, is like the quality just sucks. A lot of this isn't considered. They'll throw in random stuff. I've asked it questions for fun, and it'll throw in a lot of fluff, a lot of nonsense, a lot of things that aren't going to be worth your time. And just the same, if you have very minimal time in the gym, you want that time to be intentional. So if you have like 45 minutes to lip and you're doing adductor, quad extension, calf raises, like that's so redundant. That's such a waste of time for the time you have. Instead, you should be focusing on big compound movements where you're going to challenge yourself. You're going to beat yourself up a bit, but you're going to get the most bang for your bucks. And if you want to know like a structure of what you should be doing in your workout and where, instead of going too crazy on this episode, we will link an episode on the perfect workout structure. So like going over when you should warm up, when you should do cardio, when you should do compounds, when you should do like should you be stretching? We go over that in detail in another episode. So if you love these more technical episodes and you love this, you will absolutely love that. But definitely go check out our website. I'd love to make a routine for you. I'd love to help you stack on more muscle, lose more fat, and feel the best you've ever felt. So thank you for tuning in with us today. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.